So what is the pharmaceutical industry? Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, La Roche, Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, Sanofi, Aventis, AstraZeneca, Abbott, Merck, Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, Boehringer, Takeda, Bayer, Amgen, Genentech, Baxter, Teva, Stellas, Daiichi Sankyo, Novo Nordisk, Procter & Gamble, Isaiah, Merck, Alcon, Sinopharm, AstraZeneca, UCB, Nycomed, Forest Laboratories, Solvay, Genzyme, Allergen, Gilead Sciences, CSL, Chugai, Biogen, Bausch & Lomb, Taiho, King Pharmaceuticals, Watson, Mitsubishi, Shire, Cephalon, Dynenpop, Kyowa Hakko, Shinogi, Mylan, Lundbeck. These are all pharmaceutical companies. But what's a pharmaceutical industry? Well, first off, it's an industry, which means that it's a business. The pharmaceutical industry manages the safety of medicines. Like the Golgi apparatus, it modifies, sorts, and packages medicines that go off into different locations, whether it be hospitals or pharmacies. These medicines are created to help us, heal us, kill us, or whatever you believe that they do. As you know, today, there are
over 9,000!
Pharmaceutical drugs.
What, 9,000?
Yes, 9,000. And the numbers are still growing. So, how does an industry function when it has so much growing demand for drugs? The key is organization. And through that comes regulations and procedures that create and deliver the optimal amount of drugs that they can. Notice I didn't say safest. Microbial contaminations have a huge impact on biologic product manufacture as they introduce product variability and can cause a loss of potency due to degradation or modification of the product by microbial enzymes, changes in impurity profiles, and an increase in the levels of bacterial endotoxins. I mean, face it, you wouldn't want some nasty bacteria in that pill you took this morning, last night, when you had that cold. Unfortunately, that's not always the case, because like I said before, it's a business. For example, who's heard of that meningitis outbreak that we've had just recently? News reports have linked the source of the outbreak to the New England Compounding Center. Because of their illicit practices, they have caused a national meningitis outbreak in which 25 people have died, 313 more have fallen ill, and as many as 14,000 people are believed to have been exposed. Instead of producing tailor-made drugs for individual patients, as the law allowed, the company had turned into a major drug maker that supplied some of the most prestigious hospitals in the country. Inspectors said that 83 out of 321 vials from one of the lots linked to the meningitis outbreak that they observed contained greenish-black foreign matter, and another 17 vials had white filamentous material. The company stated that they had tested the samples from the contaminated vials and found it to be sterile, but when the FDA tested those same vials, all of them contained microbial growth. Now we do have those big guys monitoring these industries such as the FDA, CDC, FEMA, and WHO. These are all globalish organizations, mostly the US, but many countries have adopted our safety regulations and practices that are supposed to be followed by pharmaceutical industries in order to prevent microbial contamination. Many industries are required to have standard operating procedures to provide people with all the safety, health, environmental, and operational information necessary to perform a job properly, to ensure that production operations are performed consistently to maintain quality control of processes and products, to ensure that processes continue uninterrupted and are complemented by a prescribed schedule, to ensure that no failures occur in manufacturing and other processes that would harm anyone in the surrounding community, to ensure that approved procedures are followed in compliance with company and government regulations, to serve as a training document for teaching users about the process for which the SOP was written, to serve as a checklist for coworkers who observe job performance to reinforce proper performance, to serve as a checklist for auditors, to serve as a historical record of how, why, and when these steps are used as a factual basis to revise steps when a process or equipment is changed. to serve as an explanation of steps in a process so they can be reviewed in accident investigations. Most pharmaceutical industries should also have good manufacturing practice. The flow of personnel, material, and waste should be from clean to dirty areas. Critical upstream open operations accountable to microbial contamination should be performed in designated biosafety hoods. Depending on the risk to the process, areas should be appropriately segregated. A process using mammalian host cells is important to prevent cross-contamination of process intermediates in the facility. Segregation of areas, appropriate changeover procedures, and other procedural controls should be in place to prevent cross-contamination in a multi-product facility. Ways to prevent cross-contamination: building structure and design, equipment, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, manufacturing, clothing, and personnel. Building structure and design eliminate the risk of entry of insects and pests inside the manufacturing area by good design of facilities and services equipped with maximum protection, prevention of access to unauthorized personnel in production, packing and quality control areas, interior surfaces of walls, floor and ceilings should be smooth, free from cracks and open joints, and they should not shed paint chips and should permit easy and effective cleaning. Equipment should have smooth surfaces. Contact surfaces should not be additive or absorptive. Manufacturers must ensure that all materials of previous product manufacturers are removed, and after cleaning there should be no residual cleaning agent left behind. Repair and maintenance operations should not present any hazard to the quality of the product. Wrap the clean equipment with polythene bags until use. The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system should have appropriate filters with suitable airlocks and pressure differentials. Air supply and extraction points should not be so close or positioned in a way that restricts the supply of clean air to manufacturing areas or sweeps dust or contaminants away from working areas. Risk of contaminants caused by recirculation of an untreated treated air should be minimized. Clean dust extraction and associated pipes during every product changeover. Maintain separate areas for cleaning of filters away from the AHU. Maintaining proper temperature and humidity is important for retarding the growth of microbes. Manufacturing. At every stage of processing, raw material, intermediate, or printing material should be free from microbial or other contaminants. Mishandling may result in a serious health hazard following ingestion of highly contaminated drugs by patients whose immunity is already compromised by illness. The presence of microbes in drugs not only makes them hazardous from the infectious standpoint, but may also change the physical, chemical, and organoleptic properties of the drugs, alter the contents of active ingredients, or convert them to toxic products. It is more scientific that by removing outer wrapping of the packaging material in which they are delivered before being issued to the shop floor reduces the bioburden and other contaminants. A case comes to mind back in 2004, where Chiron was developing a vaccine for the flu. The vaccine was called Fluvarin. Unfortunately, just as they were ready to ship all the vaccines across the world and the US, the MHRA of Great Britain shut them down due to microbial contamination off the charts and in bulks in their plants, sterile room, and in the Fluvarin itself. Clothing and footwear. So people handling any type of medicine or machinery in the industry should be educated. They should wear gloves and protective wear for themselves and the product. They should be 100% healthy. If these practices are not sustained within the industry, then there could be some serious effects in the world that could result in sickness, death, or worse.